Welcome, yogis. Today I'd like to talk to you about headstand. Headstand is a really great practice for your shoulders, and it's a great starting pose for inversion work. A misconception about headstand is that a lot of your weight is going into your head. That's not really the goal, actually. Headstand serves as, or your head in headstand, serves as another point of balance, but really you could think about even like putting a sheet of paper under your head. That's how light your head is. The work is being done in your forearms and your shoulders. So when you're starting your headstand practice, it's important to know where the top of your head is, where your balancing point is, because you want good placement of your head on the mat. That is so important. A big headstand can be dangerous. Our cervical spine, the back of our neck, the vertebrae there are smaller, and you don't ever want to kind of jam up any part of your spine. It's not healthy. It's not going to be good for the discs that are in between, and it's something you want to avoid. So find the flat part of your head, and the way to do that, take your bottom of your palm to your brow line, and then take your middle finger to the top of your head. And wherever that finger lands is generally the flattest part of your head. That is what you want on the earth. Again, kind of hovering because you're pressing into your forearms. The other thing to note is your hand stance. So this is what your arms look like, and there's lots of different variations. I mean, you can do headstand with like your fingers, your pointer fingers extended. There's many different ways, but when you're starting off, I recommend taking your hands, interlacing them, and very important that your pinkies are side by side, because if they're not, all of your weight is going into your bottom pinky, and you don't want that. These are like little baby fingers, and we want to take care of them. So side by side, super important. Now, when you're in your headstand, your arms are like this and your head's like right here. The elbows, the biggest tendency is that the elbows go like this. Anytime that happens, you're losing your stability, because a tripod is 3 points, right? It's not a straight line. A tripod is a supported structure. A straight line is not going to be supported. So it's important to have your elbows about the width of your forearms. So the way you can figure that out is by taking your hands to opposite elbows, and that's about how far apart you want your elbows. So let's try it out. You want to make sure that you warm up before doing any of this. And core work is huge. Huge when it comes to inversions in general. If you have a strong core, you're going to be able to hold your body so that if you think about your core as a slinky, so that you can keep that slinky drawing in, because if it doesn't draw in, it's going to flip over, right? And I also recommend doing this. I'm not going to do it today against a wall because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, and the camera's right there, you know what I mean? But for you, especially if you're a beginner, do it against a wall. All right. Come onto your forearms. Take your hands to opposite elbows. That is about the length that you want your elbows. From there, extend your hands forward, interlace them, take your pinkies side by side. We talked about this, right? Take your head to the earth. The back of your head is going to come to your hands. Head to the earth, hands to the back of my head. Cool, got a great tripod here. All right, I'm gonna walk my knees in. So I want you to just kind of release your shoulders here. Notice what they do. This is not what we want. We want shoulders stacking over elbows. So go ahead and release them, and then press them back as much as you can. Do that again. Release them, press them back as much as you can. Okay, so that is the goal there. The shoulders pressing back. Chin slightly tucked. You've got the top of the head on the earth. From here, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet towards your elbows. Okay, second big point that I want to make, or I don't think this is the second, feels like it might be the 22nd, but you know what I mean, is more importantly than kicking up and flaying like that, and I see that all the time, and that is like the number one way to make yourself fall, for sure, You want stability in your headstand before you ever even think about lifting your legs up. And the way to know that you have stability in your headstand is what I like to call the egg. You want to create the egg first, and you want to be able to hold your egg for like a solid 10 breaths before you ever start to kick your legs up. Unless you know that you've got that shape and you can feel that core stability, you've done it before, you know what I mean. All right, so we'll come back to that stance. Pinky side by side, just want to remind you once more. Okay, the egg looks like this. One knee comes into the side, other knee comes into the side. In this way, you can feel what the shape of your body is going to be doing. And then from there, you'll start to stack hips over shoulders. Very slow movements. This is how you know that you have stability here. From there, flex through your feet. Toes are curling back to your shins, or you can point them. Just find some sort of integration. Stack, stack, stack. You're shifting your shoulders back. You're feeling this in your biceps. You're pressing into your forearms. Your head is light. Navel draws in. Breath is steady. And then when you're working your headstand, it's important, if this is a pose that you want to master, work to breathe like 20 breaths in headstand. And then notice when you come out of it, if you feel a lot of sensation in your neck. If you do, chances are you're putting too much weight in your head. You want to try to lift up a little bit more. As you get stronger, and this is like, okay, man, headstand is super easy. If you want to make it more challenging, there's always ways to make things more challenging. You can start to do the toe taps towards the earth and lift them back up. And this will be the last little thing I share here, but I just want to show you what that looks like. Again, I recommend doing this against a wall. And when I say against a wall, I don't mean like your hands are right up against the wall. You can have a little bit of space, but just think, if you're kicking your legs up, which I wouldn't recommend doing anyways, but if the legs do lift up and fall towards the wall, you want the wall somewhat close, because the further they fall, the more awkward it's gonna feel, and it gets a lot of arching in your back, and you don't want that, so we wanna work on stacking joints. All right, but toe taps is what they look like. You get to your headstand, and then if you want to challenge yourself, try to keep your hips staying above your shoulders. Try not to cheat. And then the toes will come down. You can do like a pike. Toes will tap and lift back up. And I can even tell I'm kind of cheating a bit. When I say cheating, I mean that my hips are shifting forward in front of me as opposed to staying lifted above my shoulders. So that is a helpful, hopefully helpful, little tutorial about headstand. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to comment below, or send me some feedback. And on those lines, headstand, none of these fancy yoga poses make you a better person or a better yogi. They are simply ways to challenge your body and work your edge if you want to try something new. And everything is a suggestion. Please listen to your body and take what feels safe for you. You can work your edge, but don't do anything that does not feel good or safe. And if you're hurting anywhere in your neck or your shoulders while you do this, don't attempt it. Your alignment's probably just a little off. Feel free to ask a yogi that you know can kind of give you that info that you're looking for, or you can reach out to me, Rachel@carolinayoga.com. That's RACHAEL @Carolina, CAROLINA yoga, YOGA.com. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have the most blessed and wonderful day. Namaste, yogis.